So you've completed your current state analysis. You may have done it twice. And thank you for that. All the data that we get through the Business Agility Radar is available for free. We are doing this data to give back to the transformational agents around the world to ensure we know conclusively if you move from one stage to another, it has a correlation with success. So if you want to do this now again, and you want to do it in the future, put a specialist code in that makes sense for you. Because then we can run back and actually look at those again and again. You may have something like this. As you can see, this organization is mostly amber. It has some elements of beginning to be green in certain areas, but it's mostly amber. It does have, however, some red. And that's where I always say to focus. You want to round out that current state. But if we move on quickly, because we're going to come back to future states in the next lesson, but we're going to talk about mapping your value chain. Because you've understood your current state analysis, you've understood how the structure could look in an organization and what the optimal numbers are. How do you understand what your value chain is? Where on the customer journey do you play? What problem do you solve? How do you solve it? That is your value chain, your product map. So you've done your customer journey and you've gone, right, to solve this problem, we're going to do it like this. We've done a lean canvas and we understand it end to end. Now we're going to go, right, well, which partners do we need? How do we get that? We're going to map the whole thing out. And I actually recommend the Simon Wardley maps. And again, the video is on your course lesson. And I'm not going to go over it in too much detail because he does a fantastic job of explaining this. But at a high level point of view, there is running along the bottom, the evolution of a product. All products start off bespoke and they eventually become commoditized. And after this lesson, you'll probably realize what I've been talking about when I say, what is your strategic direction for your organization? Because if it's to commoditize, then you want to push your products towards the commoditization section. If it's to jump and be bespoke and unique, then you need to go up. So the value chain from invisible to visible is all about where we see products. So right now, power is commoditization. You don't really see them anymore. It's done for efficiency purposes. And then in this example here, you've got data centers, computers, platforms that all feed into CRMs and websites, which allow you to print, have online photo storage, online image manipulation. And as you can see, it's all custom built up here in online image manipulation and online photo storage. It's unique, it's value add. It has a higher price, especially profit per use. Whereas commoditization is all about, the lowest possible cost because you can get another competitor quite easily. These are bands. This whole thing would be your tribe and what you choose to actually focus on. Because for instance, you're not going to do power. And if you are, it will be a very inefficient company trying to do this entire value chain. No, you're going to have partners. Your partners could be a power company. Your partners could be Amazon for your data centers. Your platform's CRM could be WordPress. You don't control any of that. They're your partners. Your website even could be exported. You need to understand where you sit on the value chain and what makes sense for you to do. So if you outsource everything on the left-hand side there, product and commodity space, and you're focusing on these two things here, you'll have a whole bunch of partners and you'd focus on two bands. So your organization potentially could have 100 people, which is a good sized organization that's dealing with online photo storage, online image manipulation for one customer segmentation. But Mike, we've got 600 people and we look at image manipulation. Cool. How many different customers are you actually serving? Do you have business customers? Do you have consumer customers? Do you have people who are in geographical locations? Do you have specific needs? Are you just focusing on dentists? When you start breaking this down, you'll realize that actually there's only so many customers. There's only so many people that we need for those customers. And what I'm saying to you here is when you look at your tribe, and let's say it's actually 1,000 people in the organization, and there's 4 customer segmentations, you have 4 tribes, and you're focusing on 8 products, that's the prime bit there. Again, manipulate it to how it sees fit for you. And as you'll see in the workbook, I have actually put, around here is where green is. If you're looking for, the high custom build or the Genesis, let's get out of the way of the thing. Whoop, where are we? Genesis. The Genesis side of things, which is bespoke, new things, you need agile, you need agility, you need to change as you pivot on new information. If you're in the product space, you're in the value add space, you probably are very happy with orange. Objective focus, creating new bespoke needs for those customers. That's not innovative. You don't need innovation. You probably don't need to be people-centric cultures. You can still have it. It's not a big deal, but you won't get the ROI that you would normally get. And this is why I say that for those of you in C-suite positions, this is where you are required. You need to take charge of the strategic direction for the organization. You're about the vision. Your organization may go to business agility, and that's awesome. But if you're not pushing your strategic vision towards where you would get the biggest return on investment, then you've just wasted the transformational cost. Another way of looking at this here is this is another value chain. You could basically just do a canvas style, looking at all your partners and how that all interacts. Some people will like this. I'm not a big fan of this style, but it does help you. You can brainstorm. Same with a business canvas. You can do it that way as well. I prefer to map it, but that's how I work. When we think of it, when you do your value analysis, your value chain analysis, you want to look at, okay, who's the future tribe? Which parts can I control or influence? Who are the key decision makers in those departments? Who's the customer? How many types of customers do you have? Try and do this with a lot of people. At least your 2 champions. Once you have a rough guide, you can go, right, here's my starting point. Here's where we are as an organization with the business agility radar. Here's where we are with the value chain. Here's the bands, potential bands of the future. Here's the 14 tribes. Great. We're going to do a stakeholder analysis. It's not the whole company. Unless you have quite a small company, and then it is the whole company. But I would really focus on a pilot band, even if you're the CEO. And the reason why that is, through our own research, we were very suspect when we first saw the results, but those that do big bang transformations failed. There was a negative correlation with customer value through big bang transformations. There was a medium to strong correlation with customer value increasing and competitive advantage through having a pilot and expanding the pilot. So we focus 100% in that domain now. You will expand the pilot to the tribe. You won't just continue developing the pilot because they'll become too different, and then you'll have the us and them. You want to trial something in the pilot and expand from there. You want to scale what works and throw away what doesn't. You don't want to go into this situation where, this worked over here, therefore it must work over here. No, every band will be different. And what works in this band may work in this band. If it doesn't, you throw it away. And then what you learn in this band can work over here. There's a Mexican oil company that I liked, and they own one oil company, and then they bought another one, and they pushed everything over to the new company. And what didn't work, they didn't keep, and then they rolled back. And they've expanded now, and I think the owner of that company now is the 4th richest man in the world, purely from buying up companies, taking what doesn't work, throwing it away, scaling what does work, and then learning through Kaizen on the rest. Fourth richest man in the world, and a company that's dominating the South American oil fields. So step 1, list all the people in your value chain. Just start with value chain. Have a look at the value chain. It's a good thing to actually look at all the partners as well, and whether or not there's any people who influence those partners. Step 2, empathize with them all. What drives them? Are you in a profit organization where profit is king? Or is it about they just want to get through their day, just do their work and go home? So their family is very important to them. Start to understand what pushes them. Categorize them. Champion, neutral, combative. This is going to be key to your transformation. Champion means that they wholeheartedly agree with transforming the organization. They want to adapt, they want to respond, they want new ways of working. They're probably a little bit frustrated on how things are currently. Neutral, don't care either way. Combative, I do not want to change. I like what's done here. I like the fact that I'm going to get promotion soon and that'll help me on my way to CEO. Okay, just categorize them. Then create a backlog of stakeholders. Your backlog of stakeholders is going to be your key current state strategy. You want to know where you are, who the people are in, categorizing them, and then you want to create a stakeholder matrix for that. And what order do we do it in? Your top priority are your champions. Get your champions on board. Now, I'm going to ask you to find 2 right now. I want you to go, almost stop this video and think about who are the 2 champions that are closest to you that would love transforming the organization. Next, we're going to look at the leadership in your band. Now, I've trialed many ways, and I find the easiest way and the most productive way is actually to go straight to leaders. Focus on making them your champions. If not, they'll become your blocks and combatives the whole way through this. Next are the people in your band, and then you're going to repeat either side of your band. So through your value chain, you've mapped it and you've got a band here, and a band here. Start with that one if that makes sense for you, and you're going to go either side. Don't do one over here, one over here, one over here. You're going to end up just transforming programs, and they have no way of interlinking. Like any good virus, you want to expand in a sustained way, not in blobs that could be put out like little fires. When we're transforming, at a team level especially, you want to be having your ears open to culture change. There's a book recommendation that I've put in your lesson guide, and that is Tribal Leadership, and it's all about team culture. Now, I apologize, I'm in the way on this one. It all has about stage 1 to stage 5. And just for a little bit of a quick pro quo on this, there was only 4 stages of it originally. And then when they did the research, they were like, oh, there's a 5th stage. So it's quite new, very similar to Till, it's quite new. So get it in the back of your mind. Life sucks is what a stage 1 person will say. Their whole body means that they're not actually involved in any sort of team. They're the outsider. Thankfully, you don't see many people in the workplace. And in most organizations, you will not find a stage 1. They are 2%, they're very rare. They're also all the people who are criminals. They are the people who cause massive disruption and are sadly unemployed a lot of the times. It is not your job as a leader to change them. I believe personally that stage 1 people is actually need some sort of intervention from their family and a health worker of some kind. By all means, give it a go. But if you find a stage 1 employee in your team, then please see HR and have a look on how you can help that person Otherwise, most of the time you're going to find stage 2. My life sucks. They understand that other people's lives don't suck, right? They understand that it's actually them. They normally blame somebody else. If you're listening for blame culture, and it's normally because their manager's at stage 3 and they're blaming their manager for whatever reason. It's always their fault. Now they're in the team, but they're not part of the team. They're kind of like an individual that just sort of sits around. Normally stage 2 people, they are missing something. They're missing a connection on how they can actually become successful. They are 25% of the working population. They are passive, disengaged, and they blame managers. Or they blame the prime minister or the president. They blame the CEO, the board. They're always blaming someone else. So listen out for people who are saying the words, oh, it's their fault, or if only they did something. Never my fault. It's always their fault. Stage 3. Stage 3 is the I'm great stage. I'm great. I did really well. Me, me, me. And this is not a negative thing. This is just pointing out that this is where they are in their adult development. People surround them. And this is why managers can tend to be stage 3. They tend to be the point of contact. There's lots of buy connections. And what that means is if you want to speak to Harry over there, you have to come through me. I'm not going to introduce you to Harry because I need the control. All about me. And again, it works really well in certain organizations. It's 48% of the population. Individuals, they compete, knowledge is hoarded, and there's a hero complex. I'm amazing. That person's amazing. You know, our prime minister or president is amazing. Or they're terrible. You know, because I prefer that one. I'm great. You're looking for words that signify an individual. We're great. There's almost no difference between this individual and this individual. It's all about us. Us, we, them, together, family units, KPIs preferably are about a team. It's we're great. And they're not. That team's not, maybe, but we're great. They're 22% of the population. They work together for the good of the company. They have a common enemy. That's a key thing here, right? My local football team is amazing. We're great. But that football team's not. They're terrible. They openly collaborate. They don't hoard information. One of the key things you'll find with a stage 4 group is they create trifectas. And what that means is if you want to go meet Barry, I'm going to introduce you to Barry and tell Barry about you and you about Barry, and then you guys can connect from then on. You don't need me anymore. And you can see if that happens, how much collaboration will just grow from there. It's not about my individual accomplishments. It's about how the team and the organization works. This is why stage 4 is a goal. It's a good goal for organization. Stage 5, life's great. Life's fantastic. They're very rare, but it's a living organism. So very similar to teal. It's 2% of the population again. They're purpose-driven. It outweighs their money. It's about social responsibility. It's all intrinsic motivation. It's fantastic. I'm yet to find a team that's a stage 5. But apparently they're out there somewhere. The book does state that people go between stage 4 and 5. It bounces. So you think about the likes of Elon Musk, when they create a whole new vision for visiting Jupiter, it's purpose-driven. And then eventually they're going to come back and make some money. So very similar to Microsoft's ping pong approach, innovation, lean, Think of it that way, stage 4 and 5. This is a great place to be. If you have stage 2 and you want to move to stage 3, show them how to win. So it actually makes sense for a stage 3 person to be a manager of a stage 2, or at least a manager who can actually emulate stage 3. Because stage 4 people will annoy stage 2. Stage 3 understands stage 2, stage 2 understands stage 3, stage 2 can't stand stage 4, stage 4 can't stand stage 2. You want to be quite close. And this is why we said about the HR model. If you evaluate a team and you find that everyone's stage 2, stage 3, you want to hire more stage 3s. You don't want to hire more stage 4s, because they'll just become a stage 3 very quickly. People become like the people they hang around with the most. So you've got 4 people in your team, 2 of them are stage 3, 2 of them are stage 2. As a leader, show those stage 2 what the stage 3 people are doing and how they're winning. It's about facilitating their learning. If you've got a whole team of stage 3 and you're looking to move them into stage 4, show them their limitations as an individual. And you can show them this course and show them how we do more things together, the example of group versus team. What you'll find is that when we look at group versus team, if they're a group, they're normally stage 3. If they're a team, they're normally stage 4. You're not going to have a whole bunch of group stage 3 people in a team. You can try and push the team dynamics, and all you're going to get is pushback and individuality. They may say things like, it would be great if I could get rewarded for my work. Like, great, you're stage 3. And if you're the only stage 3 in this team of stage 4, this is a lot easier. Give them work by themselves that they can't achieve by themselves. I have a team quite recently, and what I've done is I've split the team into 2, and individuals over here, team over here. Even though they're the same team, but I've kind of created a little sub-team. And this team is really struggling because they are individually trying to get things done. This team is just smashing it by themselves. Team of 3 by themselves, smashing it. These people now are wondering how they're doing so well. And through their own ego, they want to do well as well. So they almost pretend to be part of a team to get those rewards. And it slowly builds into it, actually, this makes sense now. Working as a team, I can do better. And I think that's the key there, is showing them their limitations. And even if they're faking it to begin with, they'll slowly move over to teams outweigh groups of individuals. Again, I have no experience with stage 5, but from the book it says, drive the vision, create a purpose. That's kind of the key difference between stage 4 and stage 5 is around leadership. If you've got everyone to stage 4, you will find quite nicely that it's actually leadership who helps drive stage 5. One of the key things in this book, if you do read it, you'll find, is that they don't recommend, the same way we don't, trying to get a stage 2 to jump to a stage 4. It does not happen. Even if they emulate it, they're still a stage 2 talking about their, almost blame culture. They'll just start blaming other teams. I'm not saying I shouldn't say it can't be done, but it's highly recommended that you take the teams through stage 2 to stage 3, stage 3 to stage 4. Slow adaptability will cause less disruption to your business. So how do we measure? We've gone through the current state. We understand where we are currently. We've mapped out our value chain. We've done our stakeholder matrix. We're ready, right? But how are you going to measure success? What is success for your organization? 33% of organizations that we looked at during our studies didn't have a measurement of success. They're just transformed for the sake of it. Oh, it's Barney. How do you define and calculate customer value? How often do you deliver the value? How soon do you realize you were wrong? All these things are valuable KPIs. And you can make it very simple, go reduction in cost, happier customers, more profit. Whichever one makes sense for you. What we've done is we've created some customer value KPIs for you. And as you can see, we split them into how we define customer value. And again, you can look at the work that we've done and how it validates all of these customer value KPIs on the lesson guide. But we've got customer value KPIs. What is customer value? It is customer satisfaction, customer loyalty, benefits, functional benefit of the products, and price. And just go through these. From a loyalty point of view, we're looking for customers to be loyal to us. It's not employee loyalty, because that's employee value. It's customer loyalty. So we're looking at increased sales per customer. So how often are they rebuying from us? And the reduced onboarding cost for future sales. And that's really handy because what it means is you're not having to pay as much advertisement costs. You don't need as many resources dedicated to try and get the person to buy again. They just naturally come back and buy. So if it's zero cost for them to repurchase, boom. Customer satisfaction is all about the increased net promoter score. Now, net promoter score, as you'll see on this course, you focus on a score of 1 to 10, and you've got 6 and below is a negative or a combative. You've got 7 and 8 is a neutral, and 9 and 10 is the promoter, champions. You take the number of customers who are 9 and 10, you minus those from 6 to 0, and you divide by the overall number. And that gives you your NPS score, net promoter score. If that's increasing, your customer value is increasing. Your customer value is increasing, your business outcomes and competitive advantage is increasing, and therefore you're making more money. But it's a lot easier to focus on increasing your net promoter score, i.e. increasing your satisfaction, than it is to have this ambiguous term of make more money or increase customer value. Yep, good goals. How are you going to do it? So you may decide that satisfaction and increased net promoter score is where you want to focus your objectives. Also, increase positive feedback. I like to use this mostly on social platforms. So I scale all the social media platforms. I look for positive and negative traits during a time period. It's like, okay, we released this feature and now we're getting spoken about on social media. We're getting some news articles written. Fantastic. Satisfaction's up. Price, money's a good thing to look at still. Increased sales, always good. The increased price against industry inflation. So are you able to increase your price against industry inflation? i.e. you're taking more of a market share per dollar, which is really good little KPIs to look at. So even if you're not increasing customers, you must be increasing customer value because you've got a higher price than your competitors now and people still buy from you. Again, if you have a commoditized product, this won't make sense. If you have a value add product, the value that you're adding allows you to demand a higher price. Functional benefit, you've reduced the waste. So every feature or product you're delivering is decreased in price. That's a functional benefit to the customer because there's more money now and more resources to increase other products. And higher gross margin, you're making more money. So you can see how these customer value metrics will always lead to more money. If money's what you need as an organization. If you're a charity, then it's more money to actually reinvest in other parts of the organization. And if you're a ministry, it's less cost to the taxpayer. Yep. And then the loyalty, increased sales per customer, and the reduced onboarding costs for future sales. We went through that already. Nice. So we've spoken about compounding change. And I've asked you to find 2 people that you believe that they want to make change as well. Your champions should be stage 4. They should be inside your band. So if you found 2 people already, brilliant. Altogether, your current state, you understand your part in the end-to-end value chain, you've documented your stakeholders and the roles that they need to play in making these changes. You've measured the tribe and or the organization business agility stage for the business agility radar. You've documented potential limitations to change and positive features that may help through going through your stakeholder metrics. You've chosen 2 champions to bring you onto your plan and committed to teach them. Just give them some of these videos. Tell them to come on the course. I'll give them a discount. Just bring them on the journey with you. Okay? Get your workbook printed out and tell them, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you guys think? And if you're a stage 4 person, of course, then you'll introduce them to me and I'll introduce them to other people as well. Awesome. So that was our current state of business agility transformations. Quite a lot in there, isn't it? It's not just about doing your radar and then going, that's our current state. You need to understand all the psychological reasons of what could potentially hit you. You need to understand your total playing field, your total value chain. You need to understand all the stakeholders that are involved, or potential structures that could be looked at. There's lots involved in current state. It's a lot harder than a future state, which is our next lesson. Thank you.